Hi, my name is Celeste, and today I'll be talking about trauma. I'll be defining it, as well as connecting it to how it affects children and communities of color. I recently completed a master's degree in early childhood education with an emphasis in trauma studies, and we'll be sharing some of the work that we did. Trauma is the actual or perceived threat or injury to self or others. It is the basic experience of too much, too fast, too soon, or too sudden. It can be a series of aggressions or microaggressions over a long period of time. It is often an unexpected sudden event which sends the nervous system into distress. Often in trauma, choice has been completely revoked. Trauma can be developmental, occurring in the womb. It can be complex, which is a series of traumas over an extended period of time. It can be systemic or institutional. It also includes trauma which is sexual or occurs as a result of domestic violence. It can happen in the military setting or a result of natural disasters. There is also vicarious secondary trauma, which is the trauma that one experiences as a result of working with traumatized populations. Trauma shatters our basic core beliefs about the self or others and our sense of trust. The sense of safety in a victim of trauma is obliterated. How does this relate to children and communities of color? Well, children in communities of color often experience higher dropout rates, higher rates of expulsion. As they mature, they may experience higher rates of incarceration. There's the presence of the prison pipeline system. There's also the presence of lack of access to health care and housing. These combined risk factors often result in higher rates of traumatized children and families. It's not across the board that it has to be children and families of color, but there is a tendency that they do experience trauma from life circumstances at higher rates. We can also look at family violence as a result of higher stress levels and violence that can occur in neighborhoods that have lower socioeconomic status and access to resources. So when children of color or families of color are under a lot of stress, there may be times when their feeling of having a choice is revoked. When choices are revoked, that comes into something called compliance. This happens a lot in schools where there is zero-tolerance policies. Compliance is the space where only positive vibes are allowed, instead of creating a safe space for all emotions to be present, not just the good ones. So in working towards schools that have safe climates for students who have been traumatized, it's necessary for us to move beyond zero-tolerance policies. It's necessary to give students choices as long as it keeps us all safe and it honors the person and the student. So as we work toward becoming more trauma-informed in schools and in communities, we have to move beyond compliance and really look at the needs of students and families, what their risk factors are, what their traumas are, and what their needs are, as well as looking at their strengths to move towards a more equitable and accessible workplace and school place.